Hi, it's Steve from PartSelect. Today we're going to show you how to change the defrost thermostat on your refrigerator. It's a really easy job. All you're going to need is a 1/4-inch nut driver, a pair of wire strippers and crimpers, and a heat gun. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, the first thing we'll need to do is to disconnect the power to the appliance. So simply pull the plug from the receptacle. Next we'll open up the freezer door, remove any shelving that's in the way, so that we have an empty freezer cavity to work in. Next we're going to remove 2 1/4-inch hex head screws that secure the evaporator cover to the back wall. Now we'll grasp the top of that back cover and tilt it forward far enough that we can reach easily in over the top and disconnect the harness connector in the top left corner. Just depress the 2 locking tabs and disconnect that harness. Now we can remove the evaporator cover. Now that we have the evaporator exposed, you see the location of the defrost thermostat on the back section tubing there on the suction line. So we're next going to disconnect a wire harness here, pop that thermostat off of the tubing, and reroute that wire out so that we can get at the thermostat. Now we need to disconnect this terminal on the end of the element. Depress the locking tab and unhook that. Next we're going to unclip the thermostat from the suction line. And we'll tuck that in behind. Pull that right out through. And we'll unhook the harness from that retainer at the back. So now we can get this out where we can work on it, because we are going to need to cut this wire that runs to the connector. We'll cut it fairly close to the thermostat. And the lighter blue wire, we'll cut that back far enough and make another connection right about here. Discard the old thermostat. Next we'll repair the wire harness. So we're going to strip back about 1/4 inch of the insulation. And we'll just twist that wire and make it nice and snug. Do the same on the connector. And we'll take the butt splice terminals that came with the kit, and we'll install one on each of those 2 wires. Make sure it's fully inserted in the butt splice connector. Crimp it tight. Make sure we have a good connection. Next we'll prepare the thermostat. You need to trim at least 1/4 inch of the insulation back on those two leads. Now before we connect the thermostat, we're going to slide the pieces of heat shrink tubing onto the harness. Put one on each of those leads. Ready to close off the other end of those connectors. Insert the dark blue wire from the thermostat into the dark blue wire lead from the connector. Crimp it nice and tight. Do the same with the light blue wire. Make sure it's fully inserted into the connector. Check our connections, make sure they're good and tight. Now we're ready to apply the heat to the heat shrink tubing. Now the back wall of this freezer is a thin plastic material, so when using a heat gun, you'll want to put some type of a heat shield here to protect that liner. That's going to work all right. Now we'll position the heat shrink tubing over the center of that butt splice connector and apply the heat to it. Keep in mind these heat guns get very hot, so you want to make sure that you keep your bare hands free. You need to rotate that harness to make sure that we get all sides of that heat shrink melted evenly. And we'll do the same procedure with the second connection. And again, you may need to rotate that harness to ensure that we have all sides melted. Next, we'll remove our heat shield, and then we'll locate the thermostat in behind the suction line, pull the harness through, and now with the one spring clip on the back of that thermostat, we're going to position that the same spot that the original thermostat was. Be careful not to damage that tubing. And we'll locate it just past the joint of the copper to aluminum line on the suction line. We'll reconnect to the element. Make sure that harness is tucked out of the way. And we'll position the rest of the harness in the retainer against the back wall. And now we're ready to reinstall the evaporator cover. Now when reinstalling the evaporator cover, we need to make sure that we tuck the air inlet opening to the fresh food compartment properly in position. So we'll make sure that fits down into the opening and just get it started in there. Next we're going to reconnect the wire harness connector. Make sure it locks into place. And we can tilt the cover back up into position and then reinstall the 2/4 inch screws. Now we're ready to reinstall the shelving and reconnect the power, and our repair is complete. Told you it was an easy job. Thanks for watching and good luck with your repair.